Good afternoon on what is a grey, overcast and chilly day. It is Tuesday, the 1st of March. I am back in the reading nook with some parcels and of course a nice hot cup of tea. And a cat who is not ours. And of course some parcels to unbox. And what I am going to unbox is this. So I'm just going to get the knife and slice that open. Just keeping his nose out of the way. He does like to get in there. And this one is nice and easy to open, always on the move. And I can't show you what it is. Let's see if I do that. Oh, okay, I can. Up. So this is New Tales of the Miskatonic Valley. Further Adventures in Lovecraft Country. This is for 7th edition Call of Cthulhu, 1920s classic era. It is published by Stygian Fox, and it is part of their Miskatonic River Press classics. Now, Miskatonic River Press was one of the first big licensees in the sort of late noughties, early tweenies, essentially the last decade for Call of Cthulhu, and basically run by Tom Lynch and the late Keith Herber, and they launched their endeavour with an anthology of scenarios. With a range of authors who were bringing a new sort of like sensibility, or necessarily sensibility, or basically, I don't know, basically a new tone, I think, to writing Call of Cthulhu scenarios at the time. And they came out with this anthology. Now, I reviewed the original back at the time. It was one of the things I really wanted to review, and I remember asking. And it's always you know, basically a bit of a essentially, how can I put it? It's not necessarily easy to go and ask for something. You know, can I have a free book to review? Can I have a book to review? You have to build up a reputation. You may not necessarily be known. And even, I get that today. Even, you know, some people don't know who I am. That's fine. I'm not making a complaint. It does happen. But it was a case of, okay, you know, it's. You go and ask for, can I have a book to review, please? And obviously there's a sense of sort of like trust and so on. And I built up a really good relationship with everyone at Miskatonic River Press, because I gave the books good reviews, went to depth and detailed, and really liked them because they were always good books. And the newest successor is Golden Goblin Press, which continues to do good books today. But here was where it started, which was this volume for Lovecraft Country, which is essentially the areas in which Lovecraft set his own, the majority of his own stories. So Kingsport, Arkham, Innsmouth, and Dunwich. And this is a set of scenarios for Call of Cthulhu for that region. So, 7 sinister secrets set in the fictional New England of H.P. Lovecraft. Written by veterans Keith Herber and Kevin Ross, and other leading Call of Cthulhu luminaries such as Christopher Smith Adair, Tom Lynch, Seth Gorskowski. He's a new addition, and Oscar Rios. Oscar Rios now runs Golden Goblin Press. New interior illustrations by Henriette Bolt, with maps by John Gibbons and Stephanie McClay. Handouts by Dean Engelhardt, and a new layout designed by Badger McInnes. In Arkham, Tom Lynch's The Reeling Midnight introduces players to Arkham's a truly decadent party scene. Spirit of Industry, Christopher Smith Adair's Wasted Youth explores the root of juvenile delinquency, culminating in a wild chase through the wilderness. Spirits of Industry takes players back to the village of Dunwich, where Oscar Rios explores old murders and ancient mystery. Foxfield is the setting for Keith Herber's Proof of Life, a tale of extortion and madness in a brand new Lovecraft country town. Oscar Rios is back for seconds, this time exploring Kingsport and old grudges with malice everlasting. Kevin Ross, author of Kingsport City in the Mists, one of the core books for the Miskatonic Valley, sorry, the Miskatonic River setting, the Lovecraft's country setting for from Chaosium. Yeah, revisits his creation with where a veteran of the Great War is suddenly haunted by deadly nightmares in the Night War. Szyszkowski, author of the Valdusian and series of novels, takes us to the hidden town of Innsmouth with its squalor, danger, and dark corruption in a mother's love. What's new in this edition? This volume reprints the scenarios from the original New Tales of the Miskatonic Valley and adds a full colour layout, a new art, a brand new scenario, new maps, and play aids. But no ice cream van. So we open up, and here we go. So here we get into what we've got basically table of contents. Got an introduction by Tom Lynch, who co-founded Miskatonic River Press, and I can remember every time, you know, anticipating every release from them. We have a nice piece of artwork. Welcome to Arkham. That's a really nice overview of the city. Accompanied by this classic map, and then we get into the Reeling Midnight, Tom Lynch's first scenario here. And it's the late 1920s, and the jazz age has finally reached provincial Arkham. Swing music, prohibition, liquor, gambling, dance, and a live for today attitude have had far-reaching effects in the community. And essentially, the Wilcoxes, whose money is in timber, have concerned that son, young Eugene, the sole heir to the family fortune, has been attending scandalous parties over in his town, and his parents want the investigators to look into it. So they get to go to a party and meet Ariadne Varga. Again, new artwork, because the original was all in black and white, and even then had, I mean, it did have good artwork in it. And then yeah, basically more background and discussion including the dangers of reefer madness. And we have basically a Bacchanalian event that may lead to the police involvement. And then essentially then the player characters are the investigators are on the trail of the villains of the piece. Some nice handouts, and there we have a final encounter. And yes, okay, well, Ariadne does kind of give it as a name, does give it away. Before we get into Wasted Youth, which is quite a physically demanding character, as suddenly there's a rash of juvenile delinquency, which culminates in somebody being run down. Again, and it's a case of chasing up this delinquency in the scenario. And investigating the different families and so on. Again, really nice handouts. And then you go, the Boy Scouts go camping, so out into the wilds, or the nearby wilds of Lovecraft Country. And a chase across the landscape. So, and then we go see the wild rising hills of Dunwich. That really like these nice preface-facing pieces do capture the feel of the particular locations. So we've got 2 scenarios in Arkham, and basically you've got them preceded by that nice piece of artwork here. So that's a nice touch, I think. You know, basically it's kind of almost placing, organising the adventures by location and giving them sort of like almost putting them into the chapters of their own. From here, this goes out to Dread Dunnage, and we've got a Spirit of the Industry Oscar Wilde scenario, complete with a map. And here, basically, it's essentially the player characters get involved in a ghost hunt. And in particular, they have to look into a mill, which is said to be haunted. Essentially, a haunted mill in Dunwich Township. So we've got commonly known facts about the mill, the NPCs involved, and then sort of like a new map of the Dunwich Township. And then the 1806, map of the 1806 mill itself. And the mystery of the mill. It's fairly short. It's not relatively short, but necessarily a nice little scenario before we go out of Dunwich, and it does exactly the same thing, but takes you to a new area with Keith Urber's Proof of Life, with Explore Charming Foxfield, a new location for the Lovecraft country. What's great about that is that this is an area that would be revisited again in a handful of scenarios again, mostly for Miskatonic River Press, Proof of Life, and essentially the small town of Foxfield is located northwest of Arkham along the Aylesbury Pike, and the popular long-standing and township supervisor Henry Barnes has received death threats, perhaps from someone within the community. And it's up to the player characters and the investigators to look into that matter. You know, we've got a map of Foxfield and its environs. We've got a history of Foxfield and introducing Henry Barnes. Arriving in Foxfield, so basically pulling the player characters and investigators into the new area, because obviously for long-term players they're going to be familiar, if not through direct play, at least through reputation, of places like Dunwich and Innsmouth and Arkham, but Foxfield will be entirely new. And I know there's also Aylesbury is expanded upon other Miskatonic River Press content. So we're basically dealing with the dangers in Foxfield. So that's Proof of Life, and then again got more great artwork. This time, Catch Some Winks in Kingsport. I love that. That's a lovely, perhaps I would have gone with Catch 40 Winks in Lovecraft in Kingsport. Then, but again, he's got a great piece of artwork. And then Malice Everlasting. This is Oscar Wilde's second scenario. Again, we've got a fantastic, nice illustration of Kingsport. It's a scenario. It's somewhere he would support. He would visit more recently in the basically the holiday quartet of scenarios for younger player characters, which I thoroughly recommend. I've done an unboxing and a review of. Let's have a look. And so in this, we have essentially a student has been suddenly struck blind in Kingsport, so the investigators come to look into the matter. So again, decent handouts. And we've got Kingsport Historical Society Museum, so you've got sort of like delving into the past of Kingsport to find out what's going on. All nicely detailed, again accompanied by new maps. And then, still in Kingsport, we have The Night War by Kevin Ross. This is inspired by William Hodgson as much as it is H.P. Lovecraft. And it has a Great War veteran haunted by nightmares of his time on the Western Front, and unfortunately I can recall from the scenario that the investigators, in investigating that, are pulled into the conflict themselves, and getting caught up in the Night War. And again, it's very much, I mean, not physically necessarily, but certainly is in dreams, but obviously it takes on an element of the physicality because of the strength of dreaming within Kingsport. It feels very real. So we have essentially random movement event table in the Night War, the weapons of Night War, optional insanity in the Night War, and other events for handling this alternate dreamscape. And here we have artwork. So I did illustrate just some of the horrors, the new horrors of the Western Front in the dreams of the veterans. And includes this. I remember this does include female and male characters. So it's possible to sort of like be pulled in and go through it without really any, because it's a dream, because there's no sense of, okay, what's this woman doing on the Western Front, for example. There is that doesn't allow for that, but that's fine, and that's intentional. So then the next section we have enjoy the fishing in Innsmouth, and then again we've got the delightful sort of mouldering sense. Almost as if it itself is underwater here. That's a really fantastic sort of like feel. So A Mother's Love. That's basically a new scenario from Seth Koskowski. Got a map of Innsmouth there, and a desperate manhunt for a gang of robbers brings robbers back brings the investigators to Shadows Innsmouth. The local law has reluctantly agreed to help. As the investigators scale the crumbling city for the fugitives, they risk sticking their noses where they don't belong. The only thing more dangerous than the power of an elder god or the rage of a scorned leader is a mother protecting her child. And that's an interesting one of the things about Innsmouth. It's always been a lot of the youths of Innsmouth sort of like want to escape, get out of the town, but there's always something pulling them back in. And here that's exploring that in depth. We have encounters here with the esoteric order of Dagon, the Marsh Refining Company, the East India Marine Merchants Bank, and so on, the Gilman House Hotel. So this is very much before the events of 1928 and the raid on Innsmouth by Department M of the Navy. And here we have Tobias Sisk, 29 years old, 5'11", thinning brown hair, large green eyes. If you have any information concerning this person, please notify the authorities. So we've got a $400 reward and he's a wanted poster. And he has the beginnings of the look of essentially of the Innsmouth taint or look. So that's the new scenario. And then we get into, you've got essentially a lengthy section of maps and handouts, all available for the investigators to peruse, and the players to peruse as they play through. And they're all nicely done, so there's quite a few pages of those. And a nice touch here is that instead of just getting a single newspaper article, you've got basically a whole page of the newspaper itself. That's a fantastic touch. It gives, because essentially what it means is that the players have to hunt for the article within the page. It gives it a bit of a sensibility. Then, oh, bit of a bonus, we've got character folios for sample player characters. So we have, so just have a look. So we have, here's Angela Bastable, Dilettante. So got some nice background, and then double page spread for her character sheet for Call of Cthulhu 7th edition, so nice edition. And even more, almost sort of like weapons and equipment of the person, and strange symbols and diagrams. So this is almost like an expanded character investigator folio, rather than a traditional sheet. And it's going to do, and then basically notes and frantic scribblings, and then it's going to do the same for Carl Etheridge, book dealer, and Conrad T. Franklin, pugilist. Father Michael Calhoun, Catholic priest. Johnny Logan, driver or bootlegger. Not a great illustration of him there, I don't think. It's all right. It just sort of like, it doesn't feel quite as natural as the others. Then Rhoda Goldstein, photojournalist. And that's the last one. Yeah, then we've got Kickstarter backers. This is the Kickstarter backers here. So yeah, that's New Tales of Miskatonic Valley, 2nd edition from Stygian Fox. If you've not got this, worth tracking down, because it's a really good selection of scenarios. And if if Stygian Fox do more in the Miskatonic River Press Classics line, grab those as well. You will not be disappointed. I really loved this collection when it was first published, and no doubt I'll enjoy this again. And there'll be a proper review coming very soon. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching another unboxing in the Nook. If you've enjoyed this, then please do click on that like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me out here with a parcel and a book, or game, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea and a cat who is not ours, he's down here at the moment, finally settled, then please do hit that subscribe button. Okay, well, thanks again for watching. I'll be back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.